Welcome to the Tipsy Exchange, where your hosts get tipsy and exchange ideas on a specific topic.
With a few sidebars and tangents, it all depends on the tipsiness level.
We'll kick off each episode with a toast.
Feel free to join us, but please drink responsibly.
I'm Berly.
I'm LA. Now let's get tipsy.
Hello, LA.
Hey there, Berly.
Today we're talking about pirates. And according to Wikipedia, piracy is an act of robbery or criminal violence. It does have to be by ship or boat-borne attackers, however. And it's typically upon another ship or a coastal area, with the goal of stealing cargo and other valuable goods. Arr!
Okay.
Those who conduct acts of piracy are called pirates.
Oh.
And guess what?
What?
The dedicated ships that pirates use are called pirate ships, in case you didn't know.
Clever.
So today's episode, we're going to be talking about famous pirates. But first, let's kick off the episode with a toast. We have a quote from Mr. Jack Handy.
Nice.
It's funny that pirates were always going around searching for treasure, and they never realized that the real treasure was the fond memories they were creating. So, cheers to the journey and not the destination.
Very nice. Can we also cheers to my late, beautiful husky dog pirate?
Oh, pirate!
Yeah, she was a sweet
Cheers
baby.
to pirate!
She was deaf, too.
I was about to
Yeah.
say, was she the deaf one, or was she the one with two different colored eyes?
No, she had two blue eyes and she was deaf, and she was the sweetest thing.
She was sweet.
Yeah.
She was the smaller one, right?
Yeah, she was kind of skinny for a husky, and she had German Shepherd colors more.
Yeah, yeah.
But anywho,
Oh, little pirate. So, other than Pirate the dog, we're going to talk about another famous pirate to kick off today's discussion,
okay.
which I'm going to admit, like, I wasn't necessarily certain this person was real. Like, it was just, we've seen so many fictional incarnations of this character. It was kind of like King Arthur, where I was like, I mean, is this historical or is this just like from fables and stuff?
Yeah. I
So-
still like to believe King Arthur and the Round Table existed.
Me too. I
In
would
my
like to
mind.
believe that was
Yeah.
real and it wasn't just stories,
Yeah.
you know? And I mean, who knows? But this person did exist. I'm talking, of course, of the infamous Blackbeard. His name was synonymous with pirating in the 18th century. He was born Edward Teach, born on a beach. But there has been some people who said his last name was Thatch. So definitely first name Edward, possibly Teach, possibly Thatch. I'm not sure what was going on there. But he served England as a privateer in Queen Anne's War until turning to piracy at war's end in 1713. His career in piracy began in the Caribbean. I've heard there's a few pirates going on in there. And he was with fellow pirate Benjamin Hornigold. Hornigold. In 1717, after Hornigold rewarded him with a hijacked ship, Blackbeard set out on his own. The baby bird left the nest, and he named his ship Queen Anne's Revenge. He carried a crew of approximately 300 men and 40 cannon. He and his men sailed the Caribbean and the Atlantic coast of North America, torturing merchant ship crewmen and passengers, stealing cargo, and gaining a reputation as one of the most notorious pirates in history.
I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like I really haven't heard of many other like infamous pirates. Although I will say that there's some book I started to read a while back and I never finished because my dog ate it. But it was about the history of pirates, and it was really interesting. And there were like apparently a lot more that we should know about, but
Well, like
that were notable in history, and I'm sure they are to some people, but just not to me.
Yeah,
so.
this much like most of the topics on our show, it's just not something I particularly know very much about. But apparently, like Barbarossa There were really Barbarossa pirates, I think. Isn't that the name of the guy in Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, I do not know.
Am I making that up?
I haven't seen those movies in so damn long.
I might be making that up.
I doubt it.
But anyway, back to the famous pirate who actually did live. So in battle, Blackbeard was a savage opponent with a reputation for inhumane strength. In addition, he cultivated his image to strike fear into the hearts of other sailors, wrapping slow-burning lighted coals in his long black hair and beard, which just, he had to have smelled terrible. Like, burning hair does not smell good.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I would think he would have had some holes in his hair and beard after a while from doing that.
Wouldn't they like fall, like eventually burn through?
Weird.
Wonder how he managed to do that.
Yeah.
How much time it took him to get his like beard and hair ready.
And the placement.
With his lighted coals.
Yeah.
Before he would like, he'd be like, hang on, guys. I gotta get ready. I gotta get my coals in my hair before we go and steal some booty. So anyway, the image pirates such as Blackbeard cultivated was apparently just as important as their actions. So who knew? Flags became an important aspect of that image as well. Like you had to have the right flag.
Yes.
In Blackbeard's case, the flag flying over Queen Anne's Revenge depicted a heart dripping blood and a skeleton holding an hourglass and spear. The flag, much like Blackbeard's personal image, was designed solely to intimidate.
Nice.
However, despite his outlandish persona and reputation as one of the most feared men of the seas, Blackbeard's time as a pirate was short-lived.
Oh,
I know. Piracy became rampant in North Carolina after Blackbeard bribed colonial governor Charles Eden to ignore criminal activities.
yeah. Just turn
it on. Just turn it on. Just ignore
look
it.
this way.
With commercial vessels using, hang on,
Ocracoke
Inlet to access inland ports, Blackbeard and several other pirates found the coastal waterway an ideal target. After tolerating After tolerating Blackbeard's terrorism for 18 months, North Carolina residents and merchant sailors begged Virginia's colonial governor, Alexander Spotswood, for help. Acting in secrecy, Spotswood arranged an ambush of Blackbeard, offering a bonus for Blackbeard's death.
Ooh.
Royal Navy Lieutenant Robert Maynard, the commanding officer of the arranged assault, found Blackbeard in Ocracoke Inlet on November 22nd, 1718. Maynard's two ships, Jane and Ranger, not very creative, but okay, were immediately fired upon by Blackbeard and his crew, severely damaging the Ranger. When Jane began to take damage, Maynard ordered the crew to go below deck, creating the illusion of an abandoned vessel. Blackbeard took the bait. Leading a charge aboard the vessel, he and his men were surprised by Maynard's crew. Blackbeard suffered 25 stab wounds and 5 gunshots before succumbing to his injuries.
Holy cow.
Yeah. He was decapitated.
What?
His head hung on the Ranger's bowsprit.
Oh.
Bowsprit. Sorry, bowsprit. I am not a seaman. So,
Yikes.
excuse me. And his body was tossed overboard, bringing a literal end to Blackbeard and a symbolic end to Atlantic coast piracy.
Damn.
They really didn't like him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing there's some more worse stuff going on in there.
One would assume.
Than just stealing boats and things.
Well, yeah. I mean, to get the reputation of being the most feared pirate and the most fearsome pirate, and that you tortured other people's crews and stuff. That's why I was telling you, like, I'm sure there was some murder going on in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For sure.
Lots of devilish things.
But speaking of Blackbeard, have you watched Our Flag Means Death?
I have, but not. I'm only halfway through.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And Taika Waititi and his little leather crop top outfit when his little stomach pokes out with his beard and his hair. Ah!
Whoa.
He's so sexy.
Well, I agree, but maybe not in that role, but I think he himself is sexy.
Oh, I agree with that. I think he himself is sexy, but I do love him in the Blackbeard role.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I love him in anything he's in.
He's
just
so
hot. Freaking funny.
And he's a supportive boyfriend. I saw a video or something where he was like holding a leaf blower for what's her name? His girlfriend?
Rita Ora, like
holding that for her. And her shots came out fabulous because she had all this wind and everything. And that was like him with a leaf blower.
What are they? Isn't there like a thing like an Instagram boyfriend or husband or something like
Internet
that?
boyfriend.
No. It's the Instagram one where they're the ones taking the pictures for them.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Really?
No.
I think that's what it's called. Because it's like that some of them have been caught like in the mirror, like they're trying to do the shot for him. But anyway.
Yeah, he's definitely been caught doing stuff to help her get the shot, help her get the perfect pose. I just love him so much. And I love the show.
Yes.
And one of the characters in there that I definitely was completely expecting to be fictional.
Yeah, same.
Is not. And LA is going to talk about that. But for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, Our Flag Means Death is a series on HBO Max. And it's so cute. It's a beautiful romantic comedy. Definitely watch it if you haven't already. But here's a quick premise. The series is loosely based on the life of Stede Bonnet. In 1717, Captain Bonnet is an aristocrat who abandons his comfortable life and family in order to prove himself as a pirate during the golden age of piracy, despite having no aptitude for the role. And he treats his crew almost like kids. Like, he's like, we talk it through as a crew. Like, I imagine that I would be like that as a pirate.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cute. But sailing aboard his ship, the Revenge, Captain Bonnet and his dysfunctional crew struggle to survive against deadly threats from naval warships and other bloodthirsty pirates. So this is actually what inspired today's episode, is that LA and I found out Stede Bonnet was a real person and we wanted to know more. So tell me about him, LA.
Okay. Well, Mr. Bonnet, born in the 1680s in Barbados.
Oh.
Yeah. And he had the advantage of a liberal education. And he was in the army. And after retiring with a rank of major, I guess he was a major. He bought an estate and settled in as a member of a respectable society. And he spent a decade raising his family until what some think is he had just a mental break, like a midlife crisis of sorts.
Oh, I can relate.
A contemporary account of Bonnet's career suggested that some discomforts he found in the married state led to his humor of going a-pirating.
Oh, let's go a-pirating.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was funny. But it seems that it's unlikely that it was just a nagging wife alone that would drive him to go be a pirate.
You would think.
You
would think it would need to be more than that.
Yeah. But
who knows?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
think that piracy was kind of romanticized at that time, I think. Like the golden age of piracy.
Yeah.
You know? It was like a fantasy, and he had a midlife crisis and was like, I gotta go.
Well, there have been a number of theories that it was something mental, definitely. According to legal records, he borrowed 1,700 pounds, which is $400,000 today.
Damn.
In 1717. And, so maybe he was having financial issues. Maybe due to they had some hurricanes around that time. So maybe his sugar. Oh, he had a sugar plantation. But yeah, so they thought maybe a hurricane came in and just obliterated his sugar crop, and that's why he had to borrow the money. And then maybe I guess he was just like, you know what? See ya, family.
Fuck this.
I'm gonna go be a pirate.
Go get a pirate ship. Yeah.
But he is known as the gentleman pirate. So in 1717, after he retired and he had this large sugar plantation, a wife, children, fortune, he was like, I'm gonna buy a ship. And then he turned to piracy on the high seas. Unfortunately, his crew and fellow pirates kind of judged him to be an inept pirate, which pretty similar to the show.
Pretty similar to the show, yeah.
There are also theories that he was probably a Jacobite, supporting James Stewart as King of England over the German-born George I. But whether out of loyalty to James or simply animosity toward authority, most pirates at the time thought of themselves as in revolt against King George. So apparently there was a lot of toasting to King James and things going on.
Ah.
But anyway, for years in the early 18th century, like you said, with Blackbeard, Bonnet was a part of a gang of pirates operating in the Caribbean. And they are all this whole group is responsible for like the idealistic, what we see of Pirates Day. But during all their lifetimes, and like, as you mentioned, Blackbeard and Anne Bonny, their accounts were more romanticized, not criticized, like Mr. the Gentleman Pirate.
Like the Gentleman Pirate. So Blackbeard and Anne Bonny. So Anne Bonny, I Googled her. It says that she was an Irish pirate operating in the Caribbean as well, obviously. It sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I mean,
apparently
legit.
it was a thing. And again, just like, if Spanish Jackie was real, she was one of the few female pirates, but she's actually in recorded history. There's not a lot known about her, however, but she was born in Ireland around 1700, and she was really a pirate.
Nice.
Yeah.
But, they say, and they said they're romanticized, and they were folk heroes of their time and beyond, obviously. But authorities of the time characterized them as devils and demons, enemies of all mankind.
Oh.
But a lot of the colonial citizens supported them almost like a piratehood figure. Yeah. Socking it to the man.
So like kind of Robin Hood-ish, even though they weren't giving anything back to the people.
Yeah. They were just socking it to the man, and they appreciated it.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, like I think it was romanticized back then. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense that if you're going to run away to be something, maybe run away to be a pirate.
Right? Yeah.
The Gentleman Pirate.
The Gentleman Pirate sure did. Even though he had no knowledge of seafaring, only sailed as a passenger in his lifetime before this. He set out and he seized him a ship, and it says he purchased his sloop legally. Is that a slang word for his boat?
Let's Google it. Sloops were used as merchantmen, so like his crew.
Oh, his crew. Okay.
And were also the most common type of pirate ship.
Oh, okay. Well,
so maybe it meant his ship.
Well, either way,
pirate sloops normally carried 60 to 80 crewmen. So it was like a ship with crew.
Okay, yeah. So then it says, what I read was he armed that sloop ship with 10 cannons and a hired crew of 70, and he named the ship Revenge. We got Queen Anne's Revenge was Blackbeard. Revenge. Which again, like, what were you revenging against there?
Were you wanting a certain somebody's attention?
Exactly.
Has it got a name?
Yeah, it's called the Revenges.
Revenges?
Because I'm getting revenge. You're getting revenge, and you're...
I'm undecided.
But Bonnet had no obvious enemy, which he was to revenge himself. It is likely that he just liked it because it sounded menacing and pirate-esque. He's like a poser.
Yeah. But he's playing pretend. He's like playing make-believe almost.
But it did say that a lot of ships at that time used revenge in some way on their as their name. But
why is everybody so vengeful?
I know, they're angry.
Angry, vengeful pirates.
But he and his ship and crew, they were stocked and ready, and he ran up a Jolly Roger and ordered the crew to sail to Virginia, where they would raid commercial vessels. And the skill of Bonnet's crew, many of whom were experienced pirates, thank God, because otherwise it would have just been a disaster. They helped him capture several ships, and they loaded him down and went to the transatlantic trade. But after all the successes they had there, the crew sailed south to Honduras, which was a well-known pirate hangout. Oh. Not Pirates of the Honduras.
No. but they would go hang out there.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean's where all the action happened.
Yeah. Well, this was where they went and
Pirates of
spent their booty.
Yeah. Pirates of Honduras is just like a bunch of like probably prostitutes and bars and all of that, where you go sell your captives and everything, maybe.
Oh, yikes. Well, this in Honduras is where Mr. Bonnet, the gentleman pirate, met up with Mr. Blackbeard.
Ooh.
And of course, Bonnet was thrilled to meet Blackbeard and make his acquaintance. And they actually ended up cruising together. And after they set sail, Blackbeard pretty quickly realized that he was dealing with a pretty amateur captain. And he decided to just go ahead and seize Bonnet's boat and take command. He kept Bonnet aboard Queen Anne's Revenge, and then he sent his first mate over to Bonnet's ship to run that as they went along. And it was all with Bonnet's crew's consent. Like they were just like, all right,
well, sure.
Yeah,
sure. Does it say why Blackbeard just decided to go with the gentleman pirate in the first place? Is it just because of all the success he had that was really just because of his crew?
I guess. And it just says that he was excited to meet him, and they actually ended up cruising together.
Like just hitting it off.
They just agreed to go to on it.
Taking off together.
Yeah. I guess, 2 sets are better than one. I don't know.
And then he didn't murder him or toss him overboard after he took a ship. He just kept him.
Yeah.
Like a pet.
Yeah. he felt that the stout upper class Bonnet was not suited to be a pirate captain, and so he would be better to relax on board the larger ship than have to suffer any commanding.
So he literally just was like, just come hang out, just chill out, take a load off.
Yeah, I mean, it was, he played it as Bonnet was his guest, but he was essentially his prisoner. Bonnet finally caught on to it and decided to plot his revenge. So now he actually has a reason to be vengeful.
Gotcha.
So Blackbeard docked their fleet in North Carolina. Bonnet went ashore and returned to find that Blackbeard had stripped and abandoned the Revenge and marooned it with like 25 crew members on a small island. Bonnet took the ship back, which I'm like, how do you... Back then, if your ship was marooned, how the hell did you get it back on the water?
I have no idea.
Yeah. But anyway, he took it back, picked up his men, and resumed his puritanical pursuits. And his one goal was punishing Blackbeard. Blackbeard obviously had a head start, and he was already out there seizing merchant vessels and abusing his crew, killing prisoners, threatening civilians. And this is how he gained his fearsome reputation, as you spoke to.
It honestly sounds like two jilted lovers.
Right?
Like there's no, I know that part of the reason we did this is because like we found out Stede Bonnet was real, and they're like, well, and he did sail with Blackbeard, and there's been nothing to prove that there was a romantic relationship, but nothing says there wasn't either. And apparently like having a pirate romance, like that was a common thing. I mean, you're on a ship with nothing but men for long stretches of time. And obviously, homosexuals didn't just all of a sudden sprout out of the ground in the 80s. They've been here all along throughout history, no matter what some of you people want to think. There have always been homosexuals. So obviously, there were homosexual relationships on these pirate ships.
For sure.
And they sincerely sound like jilted lovers.
Yeah. Jealous.
Ooh, and that's kind of how the first season of the show ends. Now I'm like worried they aren't going to do a second season at all.
Well, we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to all be historically accurate, guys. Give us a happy ending, please.
I'm sure they're so clever, like Taika and all those guys. I'm sure they could keep it going.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else on Stede?
Of course. Yeah. Okay. So the governor of South Carolina commissioned Colonel William Rhett to capture Bonnet. And in August of 1718, he cornered Bonnet at the mouth of Cape Fear River. And after a violent firefight, he managed to arrest them, all of them.
Oh.
Yeah. And at this time, they said even though the hothead Bonnet declared he would blow himself up in the ship before he would surrender, his men overruled and gave themselves up as prisoners.
Oh no.
He tried to take advantage of his upper class background in appealing to the governor for mercy, and of course blaming everything on Blackbeard. I mean, it's not his fault, obviously. It's all that Blackbeard. He just did him wrong. But his trial dragged on for a long time, and after all of his men had been hanged.
Oh no.
Yeah, all of them. And they say that the trial transcript is one of the most valuable historical records about Bonnet and Blackbeard because of everything he spoke to in it. But he was finally convicted of piracy and hanged on December 10th, 1718, after 2 years of adventure on the high seas. So he was only out there for 2 years. Bonnet's execution came a month after Blackbeard had met his own bloody end in battle with the British Royal Navy. Captain Bartholomew Roberts, a contemporary of Blackbeard's, declared, "A merry life and a short one shall be my motto." As it turned out, that's exactly what happened to most pirates.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
High stress jobs tend to do that.
Yeah. Well, and when you're, stealing, looting,
Yeah.
raping, pillaging,
Yeah.
murdering,
Yeah. Yeah. Tends to be a consequence of the job.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm still fascinated that this gentleman pirate, Stede Bonnet, was a real person.
Yeah.
And that of all pirates to just be like, come on. Blackbeard.
The biggest and baddest.
Who's supposedly the most feared,
Yeah.
most infamous pirate in history, just kind of had him along.
Well, and it's kind of telling, so this big old burly, scary, supposed guy took on
With-
this gentleman, this, maybe effeminate gentleman.
Or like a
pirate.
powdered wig and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they didn't have a relationship.
Same. And so
Yeah.
that just makes me enjoy the show even more.
Well, and
So-
it makes sense, the story, too, him being
Yes.
that upset that he jilted by his lover and took all his stuff,
Yeah, exactly. Like, why else would you need to go get revenge? And they must have had a fight, and then Blackbeard just was like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna just."
Well, maybe they were on land and something happened, and
they definitely show this in the show. I don't want to spoil. I've already spoiled.
don't tell
more.
me because I'm not
That's
there
what I'm
yet.
saying. I've already spoiled more than enough of the show for those of you who haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to spoil it any further. They do have an explanation for this jilted lover thing.
Oh,
But it's just, yet again, it's so interesting hearing how much of this is based on historically
Really?
accurate things. I'm not saying that,
Oh,
obviously, the series isn't historically accurate, obviously.
Well, yeah.
It's based on, but just even without knowing what I know about the show, if you had read that to me, I would have thought they sound like jilted lovers.
yeah, for sure.
And that, again, this man who puts burning coals into his hair and stuff to be so frightening and has tormented and tortured crewmen from other ships was just like, no, just come hang out.
Yeah, come along.
I'm going to send my first mate over to handle your ship because I want you on my ship with me
Yeah,
to relax.
Just go down and relax. Stay down there, and
Take a
I'll
load
be
off.
there when I need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that he took those coils and gave him a hot stone massage?
Oh my gosh.
They were down in their quarters.
It didn't cross my mind before, but it has now.
When you were just saying that, I was like, I mean, it is nice to have a the hot stone.
Hot
massage.
stone. I was about to say, I don't know about hot coals.
Yeah.
Hot stones, maybe, but maybe it inspired him.
True. Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm sure there was some hot stuff going on.
I imagine. Oh my gosh, this makes me love the series even more. And I hope that they just go completely fantasy and come back with a second season and give us a happy ending, because obviously what happened to Blackbeard and what happened to Stede Bonnet, it was not a happy ending.
Yeah.
At all. The show is amazing. If we haven't completely spoiled it for you with today's episode, go watch it. Well worth it, in my opinion. And to close out this episode, I have another quote. This one is from the Dread Pirate Roberts in The Princess Bride.
Oh, I love that movie.
Death cannot stop true love. All it can do is delay it for a while. Cheers.
Oh, cheers. I love that movie.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Tipsy Exchange.
Want to hear more? Please leave a review, then visit thetipsyexchange.com to sign up for emails.
You can also follow us on your preferred listening apps, as well as Twitter or Instagram.
Until next time,
Cheers.